The workshop smelled of burnt metal and old coffee. Harry wiped the grease from his hands, staring at the half-repaired fusion drive that had been sitting on his workbench for 3 weeks. Outside the reinforced windows of Station Kepler 442, the twin suns of the Verdania system cast orange and purple shadows across the barren landscape. Harry was 42 years old and had been alone for most of them. He'd left Earth 15 years ago, running from memories he couldn't fix, a failed marriage, a daughter he'd lost custody of, and a drinking problem that had cost him everything. Out here, on the edge of colonized space, nobody asked questions. They just needed a good mechanic, and Harry was the best. The communication terminal bipped a soft, unfamiliar chime. Harry frowned. Station mail usually came through the main hub, not directly to private channels. He tapped the screen, expecting another spam advertisement for synthetic protein supplements or black market terraforming equipment. Instead, a holographic letter materialized above the terminal. It was written in crayon bright, messy strokes that formed words in broken standard English. The paper looked handmade, pressed from some kind of plant fiber, and decorated with drawings of stars and what appeared to be a small, strange creature with 4 arms and large luminous eyes. Harry read slowly, "Dear Santa, my name is Honey. I am 8 years old in Earth years. My teacher says you bring gifts to good children. I have been very good this year. I helped Mama with the crystal harvest, and I did not cry when the bad men came. Mama says my papa went to the stars before I was born. She says he was brave. I don't remember him, but I want a papa like other children have. Santa, can you send me a dad? I promise I will take care of him. I will show him my rock collection and teach him how to sing the migration songs. Mama is sick now. The healers say the star sickness is in her bones. I am scared, Santa. I don't want to be alone, please. I don't need toys. I just need someone loved. HONEYPS. We live in the crystal caves of Verdania 3. Mama says if you're real, you'll find us." Harry stared at the letter for a long time. His throat felt tight. The drawing at the bottom showed 2 figures, one small with 4 arms, one larger with 2. They were holding hands. He should delete it. Some kind of prank, probably. Or a scam. The frontier was full of con artists preying on lonely people. But something about the handwriting, the careful way each letter was formed, the smudged fingerprints in the margins made him pause. This wasn't a scam. This was real. Harry pulled up the station's navigation database and searched for Verdania 3. It was a small moon in the outer system, barely habitable, marked as indigenous settlement, limited contact. The Varani people were one of the few alien species humans had encountered who weren't hostile or technologically advanced. They were gentle, communal, and increasingly displaced by human mining operations. Star sickness. Harry knew what that meant. Radiation poisoning from destabilized mining equipment. The big corporations didn't care about safety protocols on alien worlds. They extracted what they needed and left the locals to die. He looked at the letter again. 8 years old, losing her mother, alone. Harry thought of his own daughter, Emma, back on Earth. She'd be 20 now. He hadn't spoken to her in a decade. He'd been too ashamed, too broken. He'd convinced himself she was better off without him. But what if she'd needed him? What if she'd written a letter like this, and he hadn't been there? 3 days later, Harry's transport skimmer descended through Verdania 3's thin atmosphere. The moon was beautiful in a harsh, way-jagged crystal formations jutted from the surface like frozen lightning, refracting the twin suns into 1,000 colors. The air was breathable but cold, and the gravity was slightly lighter than Earth. Standard. He followed the coordinates embedded in the letter's metadata, something he'd almost missed. Hidden in the file's code, someone had made sure this message could be traced. The crystal caves were deeper than he'd expected. Harry navigated through tunnels that glowed with bioluminescent fungi, his portable scanner guiding him. He passed abandoned mining equipment, rusted and dangerous, leaking toxic compounds into the ground. Finally, he found them. The cave opened into a small dwelling carved from the crystal walls. Soft fabrics hung from the ceiling, and simple furniture, handmade elegant, filled the space. On a low bed, a Varani woman lay motionless, her 4 arms folded across her chest. Her skin was pale gray, and her breathing was shallow. Beside her, a small figure sat hunched, holding one of her mother's hands. Honey, she was exactly as Harry had imagined. 4 arms, large eyes that shimmered like opals, skin the color of twilight. She wore a simple tunic made from woven plant fibers, and her small face was streaked with tears. She looked up when Harry entered. For a moment they simply stared at each other. "Are you Santa?" she whispered in heavily accented standard. Harry's voice cracked. "No, kid, I'm just a mechanic." Honey's face fell. You can't help. Harry knelt beside her. Up close, he could see how thin she was, how exhausted. Her mother's condition was worse than he'd feared without proper medical treatment. She had days at most. I can't fix everything, Harry said slowly, but I can try. I have a transport. I can take you and your mama to the station. They have doctors, they're real ones. Honey shook her head. Mama says the human doctors don't treat Veroni. They say we're not ... priority. Harry's jaw tightened. He'd heard the stories, the prejudice, the bureaucracy, the casual cruelty of a system that valued profit over lives. Then we'll make them, he said. I know people. I'll call in every favor I have. But we need to go now. Honey studied him with those large, ancient eyes. Why are you helping us? You don't know us. Harry thought about Emma, about all the years he'd wasted running from his failures instead of trying to make things right. Because somebody should have helped me once, he said quietly. And nobody did. I don't want that to happen to you. 6 months later, Harry stood in the doorway of his expanded workshop. It wasn't just a workshop anymore. He'd converted half of it into living quarters. Colorful drawings covered the walls, and a small collection of Verdanian crystals sat on the windowsill, catching the light. Honey's mother, Lysara, had survived. The treatment had been brutal and expensive, but Harry had sold his ship, cashed in his savings, and blackmailed a station administrator into prioritizing her care. She was weak but recovering, learning to walk again with the help of physical therapy. Honey sat at a small desk Harry had built, working on her homework. Human and Veroni children attended the same school now, part of a new integration program Harry had helped push through the People's Station Council. She looked up when she sensed him watching. Harry, yeah, kiddo, thank you for being my dad. Harry's chest tightened. He'd never officially adopted her. The legal process was complicated for interspecies families, but it didn't matter. She called him dad. She trusted him. She was his. Thank you for the letter, he said softly. Honey smiled that strange, beautiful Verani smile that showed no teeth but radiated pure joy. Outside, the twin suns set over Station Kepler 442, and for the first time in 15 years, Harry felt like he was home. The end.